Then he seen us, he came running. When he came running, he took out his gun and he tried to shoot my friend. You know, growing up in Ireland,
you only see these things in the movies though.
he shot my friend. And when I heard the gunshots on my friend screaming, I was like, this guy's for real, like this guy's trying to kill us. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
you feel hopeless. You feel like, khalas, what's the point of me living? Like, I've lost all my values. They opened the vans and they shot tear gas and closed the door and they all suffocated to death.
In the confused world we live in today, the battle between purpose and doubt is continuous. Broken dreams, unhealthy relationships, false beliefs, lack of knowledge, failed businesses, or even worse, living with no purpose. Join us on a journey to the horizon, a near future where a better version of you lives. Let's have conversations that expand your horizon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Horizon Podcast, where we have conversations that expand your horizon. Alhamdulillah, we have two special guests. This is going to be the first time, inshallah, we have two guests at the same time. With you is Duibi. I'll be your host today, inshallah. And on my right is a good friend and brother, Ibrahim Halawa. Jazakallah khair. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
You enjoying yourself?
Yeah, it's good to be on the podcast.
Jazakallah khair for coming through, man.
Barakallahu fiqh
I'm
for
looking
having
forward
me.
to today's conversation. Just give a quick introduction of who you are, a brief, and then we can pass it over to the
So my name is Ibrahim Halawa. I'm 28 years of age. I graduated from Law UCD and currently just pursuing my legal career, and that's basically it.
MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abduraheem Duibi. I'm half Libyan, half Irish. I work in the humanitarian sector in an organization called Select Aid.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for having both of you guys here today. So let's kind of go to, the audience probably wondering, who are you guys? We don't know who these guys are, so on and so forth. These two individuals have two extraordinary stories that have actually touched the base once upon a time, and you guys are going to hear about the story soon. But let's kind of go back to the beginning. How did you guys meet, or how do you guys know each other?
Well, that's a question that I can't properly answer because I've known Abduraheem for my whole life. Like in these communities in Europe, you're just born to find other Muslims who are your brothers and your sisters, and you just grow up with them, and khalas, you can't even remember the first day you've met.
Yeah.
So I've known Abduraheem my whole life. I've known the Duibi family. They're my brothers and my sisters, mashallah. And that's how I got to know Abduraheem.
Jazakallah khair. Did you guys go to school together?
Yeah, we went to school together. Our families know each other. So yeah, alhamdulillah, like a brother to me, Ibrahim.
MashaAllah. Allah increase you guys and bless you guys and protect you guys.
Ameen, ya Rab.
So let's speak about, let's fast forward to the calamity. You have a specific story. Let's start off with the beginning. Go ahead, just tell the viewers, what happened in your test, really.
To be honest, it's subhanAllah, Allah tests you in ways you can never imagine. And I always say He tests you in the things you love the most. And I was a hyper kid. I was a kid who liked to move around, and I was a kid who liked to always kind of enjoy my freedom and my time. And Allah always tests you in these things, the things you love the most. And in 2013, I was in Egypt for my summer holidays, and subhanAllah, I got arrested for 4 years. 4 years ongoing trial, never convicted, and acquitted from all charges, eventually to only be released to be sent back to Ireland. And it was a journey. It was a tough one, not an easy one. As a 17-year-old, I was 17 at the time, which I was a minor, so they illegally detained me. And I remained in prison for 4 years, 2 months. Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time at 17. I mean, you're coming out at 21.
Yeah.
That's basically the years where you really learn a lot, You go into uni, you go into college, you build those long-lasting relationships. You potentially possibly find a spouse at that age.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers get married young, alhamdulillah. So those were like critical years, Abduraheem, when did your kind of calamity or your test start, really?
Me, it was back in Libya. We moved to Libya when I was 21. I was teaching maths at the time.
You're a math teacher?
I was a math teacher, yeah. And subhanallah, I think it was on a Thursday night. So we were, in Libya we have istiraha where usually everyone goes in the weekend.
It's like the lads
It's
chiller,
like the match
basically.
chiller, yeah. So, and then when the boys, subhanAllah, I wanted to go home. I think everyone else was asleep. So I was like, I'll go home with you. I'll take the guy home. And on our way, we were dropping the guy home. We bumped into a car where two people came out, with guns trying to rob the car. So
At this point, Libya was like a really
it's like a jungle.
place.
Living there is like a jungle, bro.
I think, what year was this?
2017.
2017, if I'm not mistaken, Libya is actually classed like #1 most dangerous country in the world because of reasons like this.
No.
Okay, so they stopped you. They had guns.
And they tried to take the car off us. And subhanAllah, Libya, if there's always ma'rifah, someone that knows someone. So one of the guys knows someone working with them. And I remember the guy was so toxic, bro. Like I'm looking at him, one eye up, one eye down. The guy's lost. There was alcohol in the car. There was, At the moment we finished it, and we decided to go, and he let us go. We dropped the guy home. On our way back, there was a checkpoint, the same road that we came. There was at least 10 cars, 30 people. So subhanAllah, the guy with me, he's from a big family there.
By the way, sorry, just to pause, just for the viewers, because they're probably thinking like, where is this? This is Libya, so these are militias. These are not registered, not legal minors really that have access to weapons that are basically hijacking vehicles, killing people, taking things that are not theirs. Correct? Yeah. So they stopped you the second time.
And I remember because when we dropped my friend home, I goes to him, wake me up in the istiraha. So I was kind of like lying down. We found ourselves in the checkpoint. My friend, he's talking to one of them, and then subhanAllah, that car just comes and pulls up. So when you have that feeling something's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen.
Was that a police checkpoint though?
Yeah, it was malicious checkpoint.
Oh, okay.
So there's groups there. So subhanAllah, he parked the car, he was lighting a cigarette, and then he seen us, he came running. When he came running, he took out his gun and he tried to shoot my friend. And subhanAllah, the magazine fell. And chick, I'm just like, wow. Growing up in Ireland, you only see these things in the movies, though, do you know what I mean, bro? So I'm like, what's the story with this fella? And my friend, he knew he was trying to kill him, so he came out of the car. And they were both pushing each other, and there was a machine gun on top of a car. Just to let you all know, machine gun, the bullets are the size of like a Pepsi.
So one of these.
Yeah, just something near like that.
It's a nice drink though. Let's
Lowe's drink.
Lowe's. You guys know about the Lowe's.
Is it?
Get yourself some Lowe's. Okay.
So subhanAllah, he grabbed the machine gun and he shot my friend. And when I heard the gunshots on my friend screaming, I was like, this guy's for real. Like, this guy's trying to kill us. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like,
It's not a joke no more.
So subhanAllah, I got out of the car, bro. All this is happening real quick. Well, if you don't know, in situations you only have a few seconds to think. You can't really. I got out of the car and bro, he's shooting at the car, the glass going everywhere. The bullets are still like dark, so the bullets, you can see the red bullets flying everywhere. And I'm thinking, this guy's trying to kill me, bro. You know what I mean? So I remember there was a person from the checkpoint standing next to me, and at the time I'm like, khalas, let me run. I used to be a very fast runner. So I was like, let me run, but I'm like 250 bullets. He can hit me in the head, in the stomach. Khalas, that's me gone. Self-defense, there's another 20 people here, 20, 30 people. So it's a different story altogether. And then he came at me. When he came at me, the gun was so big, bro. Like, even when he was coming, he was literally, he couldn't even carry it. So he came at me, he threw me a dig. I threw him a dig back, and at the same time, he shot under me. So, subhanAllah, he shot under me. As soon as he shot, I just dropped. When I dropped, I looked at my legs. This is when I realized that I thought this was a dream, or is this for real? Because I didn't feel the pain straight away, So this leg, I think my jeans was holding it. So I realized like I'm hurt.
So basically your leg was semi-blown up.
Nah, I thought it was only my right leg. So I thought it was only one leg at the time. So, and then subhanAllah, he put the gun on my head. I looked at him. That's khalas. That's when I seen the mouth. Alhamdulillah, I kept saying the shahada. And as I'm saying the shahada, and he's looking at me, my other friend is still running around. So he's like, oh, why is he running? He ran after me, he left me. So subhanAllah, bro, at that moment, ya Rajil, all you're thinking, is I'm gonna die now. What's the last thing I said to my mom? What's the last prayer? You know, you don't think of all the good things that you done. You think of all the bad things you done. Am I ready? Am I gonna see Allah like this? Did I done enough? You know. So subhanallah, and I was there for at least 5 minutes because they all left me, and the blood literally wasn't stopping. Like I remember there was loads of blood, and I kept screaming help. Someone come stop the blood, and there was one person that was there, and he came and helped me. You know, so they took us to the hospital, and then that was the day of the calamity.
That's a crazy start to a
Yeah.
test, bro.
Is it?
You know,
It's pretty heavy, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Being hijacked, really. People trying to kill you, getting shot in both legs, a car being basically blown up right in front of you. It's a very difficult start to a test. Let's dig a little bit deeper into going through prison, right? So let's stick to Ibrahim for a second here. Prison, 17 years of age. You don't really know why you're there. You don't know how long you're going to stay there. You don't know anybody in there. You're on holiday.
Yeah.
You're a young lad that went on holiday back home.
After my leaving cert, yeah.
So, what are some of the things that you learned quickly about prison in?
Well, before
In
I think
different
before we
countries.
just jump into prison, I think it's very important to point out the whole concept of this conversation.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's a story to be in Ireland and to come back and say this story, me and you. Abduraheem has his
survivors.
own as survivors,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, that a lot of people in Egypt, in Libya, in the Middle East
Didn't make it.
don't make it, go through this as a everyday basis story.
Yeah.
It's normal for them. So, you know, the fact that we are actually sitting here speaking as if it was some big event that happened to two specific individuals in Ireland, it's like, you know, we're putting a spotlight on two stories. But in our
Reality,
countries,
yeah.
That's normal.
it's normal.
Facts.
And that needs to be pointed out to the viewers that a lot of people struggle through this. And we have something that, you know, we have safety. We have, you know, you can close the door on yourself at night and not worry about anyone coming in. And that was one of the lessons, for example, I learned in prison. That, you know, just having the blessing or the ni'mah of being able to close the door on yourself and being able to control that door handle was a blessing in itself, man. I remember, wallahi, the time I was fed up, khalas, I was sick of hearing them every day pull that big metal door, closing it, the keys going through the door and locking the door, and with a big lock and chains and stuff. I just felt like, when can I just go to our old wooden simple doors in Dublin where you can just go and you hear the open? Yeah, man, it was a journey. Alhamdulillah, look, it was a test, and I never thought I'd go through it, especially as a person who, like I said, I loved freedom, I loved going out. But I'm such a claustrophobic person. Like, I can't sit in one place. Like, even sitting now, like, I can't sit. I need to move, man. Like, I need,
bro.
yeah, like, I need to move. So staying in prison was at the time, it was very difficult. But there was a lot of shootings and killings, and like Ibrahim said, for me coming from Ireland, like, this was something out of a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I never saw people being killed, man. Like, not guns. Like, the biggest guns we played with were like pellet guns when we were kids. And but seeing these heavy artillery was just insane. I went through. I got, subhanallah, I got locked up for protesting in Egypt, and I went through a difficult trial. But I didn't go through it alone. I went with my 3 sisters, and they were imprisoned for the first 4 months with me. And I think at that period, that was the most difficult period.
Wow.
That was because I was seeing, if I was going through prison and seeing all of this stuff, and we were hearing the rumors that were happening to the women in the women's prison, I was losing my mind.
Wow.
I was ready to sign any paper. I was ready for you to call me any name in the book, you know, charge me with anything, and I'll sign it, no problem. Just that they have to go home. And I kept, you know, saying this over and over again to everyone in the legal departments there, here in Ireland, sending them letters that my sisters need to go home, because there was stuff I really don't want to say it on camera. It was very horrific. So even the thought of my sisters going through that was difficult. So
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you guys. For
Allahumma
patience.
ameen, yeah.
It's I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling you going through it is something.
Yeah.
But your sister,
Yeah.
the woman that you care so much for, the woman that is closest to you than your mother and your family, it hurts, bro.
Yeah.
Wallah, it hurts. May Allah subhanahu wa
can't
ta'ala reward
do
you
it.
guys for the patience.
Nah, man.
And
man,
this
bro.
is the point, like I was gonna refer to. It's really the first time, like the Prophet's hadith where he said when he advised another companion to make dua, وَأَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنْ قَهْرِ الرِّجَالِ, and like the men's, like other men having power over you, and that in itself is for a man, it breaks you, because you feel that another man is imprisoning you, and another man is imprisoning your sister, and you can't do nothing about it, and that's qahr al-rijal. You feel that they are holding you from you. The most dearest part is your protection for your family, your protection for your sisters.
You feel
And you
hopeless.
can't. You feel hopeless. You feel like, "Khalas, what's the point of me living now? Like I've lost all my values. I've lost all my beliefs growing up, saying, being raised that I'm going to protect my sisters for life, or I'm going to protect my family, and here you are, you can't do none of that, and that is all gone, and that's stripped away from you. So there was a lot of lessons I learned in prison, but I think the main one that really stuck with me as a 17-year-old was the first time I got sick, man. Like the first time I caught the flu. I was in prison. They moved us to a prison after beating us, stepping on us, humiliating us, stripping us, all of that. That was kind of like a different experience. But the first time I really felt something that hit me was when I felt alone, and that was when I got sick. I got the flu, and I remember I was laying there on the floor, and you just didn't have your mama come in with a hot lemon, bro.
The soup.
Yeah, the soup, or
sharbat.
someone ask about you. And I just felt like this is survival mode. Khalas, you have to live the next whatever period it is. And they were saying that we were facing the death penalty or 25 years, depending on the judge. So if I was going to live here 25 years, I have to get up when I'm sick, do myself something to eat. I have to make sure my nutrition's on point. I have to take care of my health.
Cleanse yourself.
Cleanse. It's all I'm on. No one's washing. You have to wash your laundry on your hand. No one's washing it for you. So all of that, I just felt like I was alone, bro. And subhanAllah, when you're stripped of humans, it's where you find Allah.
Subhanallah.
And that's right where my journey started to begin.
Subhanallah. I want to speak about that in a second, but thank you for sharing that. Abduraheem, you get shot, you are rushed to hospital later down the line. Tell us about your medication process. I know that you spoke before about going through the calamity after you got shot. Speak to us about where, when, how long you were in specific areas, that kind of process, medication, things like that.
Okay, but I'll go back to Libya first. When I got shot, Libya doesn't have any medical equipment. The doctors, not the best. They had nothing. So when they brought us to the hospital, they put us down in wheelchairs and they went off. And I remember me and my friend were pushing each other in. The nurses came out, took us in. And bro, there was at least 10 doctors. And I'm looking at them and they're like, we can't do nothing to you. We can't help you. I remember I grabbed one and I was like, please just stop the blood. Because khalas, the blood at the time is loads, man. Just loads of blood. So I started getting cold. I didn't want to pass out or anything because I thought I would never get back up again. So they go to me, we can't do nothing to you. They brought an ambulance and took me to a different hospital. So I'm in the ambulance now. I remember one of the boys, at the time the boys started coming in and this, that. One of the boys next to me. And subhanAllah, went to a different hospital and they didn't even take me in. They go to me, listen, we can't take you. So right now, and the whole time what's running in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to die. What can I do? So I'm just doing the shahada. And subhanAllah, bro, they took me to the third hospital. Khalas, they said we'll take him in, took me in. And I remember they told me for the amali, you have to call someone to start on you. And I remember I couldn't call my parents at the time. So I called Abdullah Khoy, my older brother. I rang him and he was already on the way. And then I remember, subhanAllah, twice or three times I'll get up, in the surgery. And they're like, oh, he's awake, get him sleep. I'm seeing wires and all. And then I woke up again. And that's when I see my family around me, my friends. Alhamdulillah, And then the same night, I think I got shipped to Tunisia. because they have better medical equipment. And so going from Libya to Tunisia was a bit hard, because I remember like my brother telling me, you're gonna say goodbye to your mom now. We're taking to Tunisia, and saying goodbye to my mom was probably the hardest part. It's hard, because you go through all that, but the moms, the dad, they go through it more, bro. So I remember, and then I remember getting on the plane, and I kept telling the boys 1 second, because it's not a normal plane. It was where they take the benzina, the petrol, and it was a real tiny plane. So I got up and I was telling them, turn this way, turn that way. And we get to Tunisia. Tunisia was hard. Tunisia, there was a few Libyans there too. This guy Abduraheem, he got shot. This guy Ahmed, Allah yarhamhum. Same situation, they're trying to kidnap the car. One of them, he goes, I gave the key to him, I'm gonna take it. And as he's walking, he shot one in his leg and one in his neck. And subhanAllah, the first night I had the whole thing happen in a dream again. So I got up, the nurses came out to tell me, listen, relax, it's just a dream. The medication was bad in Tunisia too. Every 6 hours they give you painkillers. It lasts an hour or two, and I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't. Alhamdulillah, I think I had an operation every second day, and then my family kept coming visiting. So sometimes like Marwan would come, and then my dad. And alhamdulillah, bro, in these situations you only see your family and your friends, bro. And then I remember one day they told me that we're gonna amputate your leg in Tunisia. And at the time, and alhamdulillah, I'm still alive. Alhamdulillah, not everyone gets a chance, and whatever Allah has written for me, I'm accepting. I remember Marwan was there, and they told him to sign the papers, and he's like, no, I'm not signing anything.
I'm not signing nothing.
I'm sitting there like, listen, just I need to do the operation, just sign. And he's like, no, I start calling my dad's calling doctors. And subhanAllah, bro, that's when I realized, listen, let doctors, your family know, it's you and Allah, bro. The only person that can help you and they can talk to is Allah. SubhanAllah, bro, they signed the papers in the end. I went down, the fella had the sarag next to me. Literally show me, he's going to cut my leg, the saw. And bro,
imagine seeing the saw before you go into the surgery there, just watching it.
Literally next to me, and SubhanAllah, I made dua, bro. Ya Allah, if my leg is going to get amputated, let it happen in Ireland. Because, better doctors and treatment and health. And I went to sleep, boom, woke up, my leg's still there. I goes to him, what's that? He goes to me, the 6%, it still survives. SubhanAllah, bro. I'm like, alhamdulillah, because I knew I was going to get sent to Ireland, it was a matter of time. And then Ireland, alhamdulillah, bro, you get here, they have morphine, they have the better treatment, they have the good stuff. They have the good stuff. You don't even feel the pain, You're like,
let's speak about that for a second. So you were in Libya getting treatment, surgeries, this, that, the other. Then you go on a private small jet to Tunisia. You get to Tunisia and you go through. How many surgeries did you get through?
I had 23.
23.
I was there for 2 weeks.
23 surgeries in Tunisia, and it was all basically. You were in the ICU quite a lot of the time,
Because there was an infection. They kept cleaning it.
And then you went to Ireland with a private. Was it a private plane as well?
It was a private plane. Yeah.
I believe at that time the Irish community here, alhamdulillah, the Irish community, the Muslims, they really doing their part with Abduraheem, because from my understanding is we tried to bring him straight to Ireland because he got shot with such a heavy artillery. The Irish government were like, he must be a militian. And we were trying to explain, he's a math teacher, bro. Like, this guy teaches kids. You can check his CV, you can speak to the school, and they were like, but he got shot with such a heavy machine gun that there's no way somebody just carries that heavy machine gun around on the streets. So
they don't know how it is.
Yeah, they don't know how it is, bro. And reality is that everyone's strapped out there and everyone has some type of weapon. And I remember the Irish community here in Ireland were vocal and were very supportive, alhamdulillah, and really helped us get him here. Then you landed in Ireland. We're going to get to that story in a second. But Ibrahim, let's get back to you. And I hope the viewers are enjoying this, because I'm showing you guys two different calamities step by step. And sooner or later, they're going to touch base. And you guys are going to see how. But Ibrahim, speak to me about one of the most valuable lessons in regards to, like, you felt happiness and you felt joy and you felt hope, and then also give me a scenario where you were extremely hopeless, other than your sisters being in prison. Obviously they left 4 months, alhamdulillah, after they were released, shortly after you were in, but you still had about 4 years left by yourself. So give me one moment that you found extreme hope, you were extremely strong, whether it was a moment in Ramadan or a moment in a specific time where there was a case or study or whatever,
Yeah.
and give me a time where you felt like, this is it, I'm here forever.
I think it started with me. I was sitting in a cell, and one of my cellmates, he's alhamdulillah, he just got released recently. He spent 10 years.
Alhamdulillah.
Allahu Akbar.
But he was in my case. He was sitting with me, and his sister was a lawyer, and we used to wait for news. Any news, we were cut out of from the outside world, tamaman. Like we couldn't know anything of what was happening. So the only way would be visits. If your family come visit you, they would say something to you, and then you come into the cell like you have this exciting news or you have this disappointing news. So we're all in the cell. You can imagine us just on
Waiting
the door,
for the TV to
just
slap.
waiting, man, just waiting. News. Like we're
Where's the
desperate.
entertainment?
We were desperate for the juice, like any juice. Yeah. But he came in. I remember I was there. Like the first time, one of the doctors told me he was actually imprisoned with us, and subhanallah, Allah puts people so that they can work for a certain task at that moment. He was there, and he was meant to be treating all the patients who were injured, who were shot. So he stayed with us because we were all injured. And he said to me, "Oh, I found out that we were going to stay here for 5 days. This was the first 5 days." And I said, "What? 5 days? I done nothing. Like, why would I stay 5 days? Like, isn't it innocent until proven guilty?" Here's naive me coming from Dublin, Ireland. I was born and raised here. Like,
I have my
Egypt
rights.
for me,
Yeah.
Egypt for me was like, khalas, it was a holiday home.
Yeah.
Like, I go there, I just spend my holiday, go to the beach, whatever, and come back.
Yeah.
But I always thought that the justice system was untouchable. Like it
Yeah.
was this divine power. Like no way. But I was like, I'm innocent. Like I'd never spent 5 days. Anyway, so we 5 days pulled on another 5 days, and the mark was meant to be 45 days. That was like the mark where they make a decision.
Yeah.
I remember he came in and he said, guys, I think his sister told him the news, and here's us all standing, and he was like, guys, we're gonna stay here for 6 months. That 6 months to me was what? Like, you're impossible. Your sister is on something, bro. 6 months for me 6 months. I done nothing. Like, I didn't even start to live my life to spend in prison 6 months. But subhanallah, yeah. And we stayed 6 months, and slowly but gradually, I think I started to get closer to Allah, as I told you, to cut the story short. And I started to feel like it was only me and Allah. And the closer you get to Allah, the more you feel that oneness of Allah. That you have a relationship. And especially when you're going through hardships. Because we always get closer when we're going through hardships with Allah. We get closer. So I started to pray Qiyam al-Layl a lot. And I think it wasn't the fact that I was like, I felt hope or I felt that I was going to get released or anything. It was the fact that you had acceptance
Of your situation.
of Allah's plan.
لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها.
I remember even I had this friend, Allah yarhamah, Abdullah, he passed away now. But me and him were taking the situation so jokey. Like we were laughing, we were joking, and everyone in prison was like, guys,
You have to.
does not realize the situation we're in. Like we're locked up. They could come in any day, shoot us, because at that exact time, around that time, they had taken out a convoy of prisoners, and they opened the van of prisoners and they shot tear gas and closed the door, and they all suffocated to death.
No
The
way.
only way the people in Egypt knew that at that time was that one guy managed, subhanAllah, to escape. When they left the truck there, they thought they were all dead, and then he managed to escape. So anyway, here's me going through this hardship, accepting Allah's plan bit by bit, accepting that, I'm in survival mode. There's, the ways we take shower, the ways we go to the toilet, the way that there's turns on food, there's turns on cooking, there's turns on cleaning. There's a certain prison life you get into. And of course, I was going to stay there until Allah wanted to. And I got closer with my ibadah. And part of my story that kind of I want to mention later is how to always be careful with your dua and what you say. Because I said this, I think, in the event for the people who weren't there, of course, when my mom made a dua, and then my dad made a dua, and then I made a dua. And I was only released after, subhanAllah, when I was in prison, to cut the story short, I made the dua, Allah don't release me until I'm finished the Quran. And you have to be careful what you say. It's a good thing. But subhanAllah, in prison I got closer to Allah, and then I got a bit lazy because I was just feeling tired or a bit depressed. And then you get back on your feet and you start praying more. But then towards the end, when I started to learn the Quran fully, like I put my head down and I was like, "Khalas, I'm going to learn this book. I'm going to come out with ijaza, where I have lineage to the Prophet ﷺ of his reading." I finished it. The next trial, not the exact next trial, the one after it exactly, I was acquitted. There was like a 2-week, there was a miscommunication in the first trial. So the second trial, where they actually sentenced, I was acquitted to go home.
Subhanallah.
So in subhanallah, I delayed learning the Quran. So khalas, it happened when I got released, when I finished the Quran. But the moment I actually felt hope, like this is gonna be, yani whenever Allah wants, when I was closest to Allah. That was the moment I felt hope. I didn't see a way out. You didn't see a way out in Egypt. No way. But I felt like khalas, you know, when you trust someone so much and you just give them your life. You're like, bro, I trust you with my life. When you have a brother you trust so much, like, man, I trust you with anything. That was the situation then. The moment I felt most broken was when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. And that, for me, was towards the end. And going back to what you said, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. I remember I looked at the sky and I was like, Allah, look, I know, I always had a little bit of gap when I said this was it. And I complained to you. But me dying here, or my mom happening, la qaddar Allah, that she dies over there, and I don't see her, I don't hug her, and she was going back, she used to visit me in prison, she went back for a random check, and subhanAllah, she discovered that she has cancer, stage 3 cancer. So I was like, khalas, that's it. I'm gonna go on a hunger strike. And I always say this, I know now it doesn't look like I was on a hunger strike. But I was on a hunger strike, and I lost a lot of weight, and subhanAllah, at that time I was losing hope because they weren't budging. They didn't want to let me out. They weren't going to release me. But I stood in that trial and I said, the man next to me, he was making dua, there was a sheikh next to me, and he was like, Ya Allah, uqdur lana al-khair. And he was like, Ibrahim, say the same dua, uqdur lana al-khair. And I was like, look, I believe what Allah is already going to choose is khair. But my trust in Allah is for him to send me home right now. So I said, Ya Allah, send me home. Ya Allah, send me home. And this is where I always say, choose the best of your du'as. Be careful with your du'as. Always have trust in Allah. Because his khair was, he was sentenced to 25 years. I had trust in Allah. I'm not saying that I'm better than him or my story is better than him or Allah chose me and didn't choose him. No, I'm saying have belief in Allah that He will choose the best for you and choose what's right. I said, Allah, I know whatever you choose is going to be good, but I'm happy. I would be the happiest if I go home. Allah, and I was acquitted of all.
Subhanallah. Wow, powerful. The story is becoming powerful. We're going to take a short break, guys, so stay tuned. We'll be back very, very shortly. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Horizon Podcast. I'm here with our guests, Ibrahim Halawa, Abduraheem Duibi. Story's been quite exciting and very beneficial in some shapes, ways, and forms. I'm glad that you guys have a sense of humor. You know, some people go through something like this and they, you know, it is what it is, but some people feel victimized and they feel like, oh, you know, it's me, I'm going through this. You guys are just taking it on the chin. You're taking it with a sense of humor. You're saying, look, it was a calamity, it was hard, but these are the things we've learned. This is the funny part of it. That's something I love about you guys, man. You guys share the funny side or the humor side of how, you know, there's always a silver lining. Is that the saying? There's always a silver lining, right?
I think so.
I think that's the saying. Well, if it is, it is. Anyways, so let's go back to Abduraheem's side. So Abduraheem right now, we're talking about, you know, he gets sent to Ireland and you haven't been amputated yet. So what happens? You land there, you meet a doctor. What happens?
So me and my dad was with me at the time. We get onto طبعا my dad, barakallahu fi, you know, at the time the euros was, the dinar was really high in Libya, so he had to sell a piece of his land, his dream home that he was building for a while, to kind of help. And then the Irish community, the Muslim community, alhamdulillah, they opened, they just given, and they were supporting too. So alhamdulillah, that happened. Then we get onto flights. We had to go onto an ambulance jet to Ireland, and when we get to Ireland, I land here and we go to the hospital. The doctor, he's my dad's friend, Galway University Hospital, so he takes me in, and it's the first time I see my leg, bro. In Tunisia, it used to be covered, so so it's the first time my dad was with me. I goes to my dad, come. It was really like black and yellow. It was infected. You know, the wounds were still open.
Something from a zombies movie, eh?
Nah, man, subhanAllah. And I'm there telling my dad, look كده شوف هنا تعال هنا. And he's like, and doctor said, listen, two things. One thing, I want to save your life because you're dying right now. The infection is going up. It's going to go to your heart. You're going to die. Number two is your leg has to be amputated. So I looked at him. I was like, listen, if it's written, if you're going to say, that's the only way you're going to save my life, khalas, you know, alhamdulillah, it is what it is, and we'll go ahead, inshallah. So I went to the operation. The operation was long. It was a 22-hour operation. I came out, and the first thing, subhanAllah, I see my leg. The brain still tells the leg is still there. So like it's itching me, and I'm trying to, and there's nothing there, and I'm going like that.
Itching you, but there's no foot.
There's nothing, but the brain is still, dagdag, you know. And I had to like whack off the bed a few times to kind of say, hey, it's not there, you know. But subhanAllah, looking at it, just it's there's no skin, it's just flesh, meat. And alhamdulillah, man. You know, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, always look at people that are worse than you, you know. So, you know, obviously it's my two legs, and this one got amputated. The next one was going to get amputated, and subhanAllah, it survived. I don't have an ankle. Like, alhamdulillah, it's there. I can, you know, have a leg. I can feel. I can. So, alhamdulillah, yeah. The first 2-3 weeks was hard. They put me on real strong painkillers, and I remember the doctor, he tricked me, bro. He's from Egypt. He came to me, he's like, listen, bro, we need to get you off the morphine. And the morphine, I don't feel nothing, you know what I mean? I'm like, are you sure? He's like, these are tablets. They're like the morphine, but like, they're better because you have to reduce. It's not good for the body. And I was like, okay. I was like, but bro, I don't want to feel any pain. He's like, khalas, tamam. Takes me off them, bro. And bro, the pain was killing me. And I kept asking for him. And they're like, he's not here. He's gone. I'm like, just bring him down to me. And he tricked me, fam it. So
it was a good trick, though. You got
it was a good trick, yeah. No, but straight away they came back and they put me on something else. It's like it's like a long injection that goes in the back and it numbs like the legs, so I don't feel it, you know. Spine, yeah. I had that for like a week. But subhanAllah, trying to cut the medication and getting off it was very hard, you know. But yeah, bro, subhanAllah, I was 3 months in the hospital.
Let me ask you. What is a moment in the recovery process that you were in the hospital? What is a moment that you can remember where you were extremely grateful? For example, if somebody asked you, you know, if you could have something in life, what would that be?
SubhanAllah, my mom came to me in the hospital and asked me the same question. She said, if Allah was going to give you 3 things, what would they be? And bro, at the time, it's not like money or give me my legs back or this. 3 simple things, bro. One of them was to get up, go down, make a sujood. Pray, make a sujood and thank Allah. Sajda and thank Allah, alhamdulillah, you know. And for everything, and I'm here because I used to pray lying on the bed for like 4 months. I missed that feeling. It's not like going down. The closest connection that you have with Allah is in the sujood, you know. So I missed that. I wanted that. I wished I could have had that. And the other one was to get up and hug my mom because I was always lying down. I want to actually get up and hug her and tell her how much I love her and embrace her, yeah. And the third one, boys, you'd never think is to go to the toilet on my own and هذه بروحها نعمة because I would sit on the toilet and go to the toilet. هذه بروحها, you never think of this blessing that Allah gives us every day, man. I had 4 months of people actually helping me and I couldn't go to the toilet on my own and this and that.
Privacy.
So, and Allah gave me them 3, alhamdulillah, bro. I got them.
Something that you both have mentioned, which is privacy, you know, missing the importance and the value of privacy. I don't think a lot of people think about their privacy and they think they have a right to it. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take that right away from you and He can test you with it.
It's horrible when
you know?
taken away.
It's mental, subhanAllah. Jazakallah khair for sharing that. I hope somebody took a lesson from that. It's very simple things that we miss out on, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I remember, just to kind of go off topic, I remember I was on a deployment and I was doing some humanitarian work and we met this old man. This old man, bro, he had back problems. and I sat with him and I said to him, hey, Sheikh, if you could have one thing, you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for one thing right now, what would that be? Bro, his response, I looked at him and I was like, is this real? He said, I wish, because he lived in a small plastic tent. He said, I wish I could have, or I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that I could have something that I could lie down on with my back so I don't feel the pain.
SubhanAllah.
Didn't ask for a house, bro. Didn't ask for a mansion. Didn't ask for a beautiful bed, king size bed. He asked for something that could relax his back on a little bit so he could feel less pain.
It's crazy how many blessings you just go unnoticed, man. Just go unnoticed.
You never really understand them until
Till you
you're
lose
in the
them.
situation where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to you, remember me. You know? It's like you're forced to remember him. Forced to remember what you have and what you can do and what you can't do and so on and so forth. SubhanAllah, very powerful. Ibrahim, 4 years in prison, Habibi. Tell me about some of the characters that you met in there, bro. Surely there were some characters that were like stories that you'll never forget.
Man, subhanAllah, prison was like, I used to call it, like at the time, because it was in Egypt, I used to call it a mini Egypt. Because you had the simple poor man, and you had the, middle class man, and you had the rich man, and you had the extremely wealthy man. And in the end of the day, we were all wearing white. We were all wearing suits. And that, I was able to kind of look back. That was a moment in prison where I just looked back and I took a snapshot of life in general. And no matter where you're going, bro, prison for me was like, it was like a grave where I was alive. I was able to watch life through a TV and start build my own character and where I want to go with life and understand life. And it was like Allah took me, put me there on the side to be, this is a stage before death. Just look at life. Look at the dunya you were chasing, where I was like, oh bro, when I want to grow up, I want to be this, I want to do that, I want to have this, I never really thought about my relationship with Allah. And when I was in prison and I started seeing everyone wearing white, I was like, this is how it's going to be. We're all in prison. This man's rich, this man's poor. We're all sleeping in the same place. And this is how it's going to be in the grave. This man's rich, this man's poor. We're all going to be in the grave. But in the end of the day, one guy could be doing better dua and has a better connection and his ibadah is better than me in prison. And I could have a less of ibadah. It's the same thing in life. You just watch life go by. It's the same principle that was being applied. There was a lot of characters that stood with me. There was funny characters. There was some sad characters, man. I think at the time the characters that really stuck with me were so at the time, just to kind of cut the story short, the Egyptian police were hiring thugs at the time to fight anyone off from the protesters. They were paying them. So at the time they were mass arresting. They arrested these prisoners by mistake. These thugs with us by mistake.
So you guys were with the thugs?
Yeah. So we were in prison. We were with thugs, but it was funny that you were coming to beat us. You were coming to, you got paid by them, and then they just caught you, and they're like, yeah, get in. It's chaos. Just get in. We'll release you later. And he didn't get out. And I remember this guy, subhanAllah, he was with us. And if Allah wants change for someone, it will happen, man. It will happen. It's sent from the seventh sky that this guy is going to change. It's going to change.
It's inevitable.
Khalas, there's no one going to change that decision. And this guy, he was with us in prison, and he had all these tattoos, and he was like, "Oh, bro, one of those like subhanAllah to start cracking."
Wannabe gangsters.
Yeah, man. He was just like he was out of it.
Yeah.
And he came into prison. And he was like, "Listen, I don't want to talk to any of you. You guys are Muslims. You guys are this. He's like this, like that." And later on, his mom even came to visit him in prison. This guy started to get closer to us a bit and learn more about Islam.
SubhanAllah.
And he became more religious. He started getting closer to Allah. He didn't believe in Allah or any of that. Or SubhanAllah. And he started to get closer and he started to believe in Allah. And at the time, I remember he went to his mother and he said, his mother, and he was like, Jazakallah khair. And his mother was like, Ida yabni. بتقول لي جزاك الله خير يعني ايه? Like, what's جزاك الله خير? I don't even know what this means. What's he saying to me? Like, the mother doesn't even know what that means. And subhanAllah, this guy became religious. This guy took the 10 qira'at. He learned the Quran, the 10 ways that the Quran is read. He learned the hadith. MashaAllah, bro, he came with a big knowledge. This guy was way knowledgeable than me in Islam after we had left. Subhanallah, it doesn't matter, bro. Don't judge a book by its cover.
That's amazing.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Wallahi, that story right there, for me personally, that is amazing. To see someone come in who he had no idea how he got in there.
Man, simple as Jazakallah khair, he didn't even know it, bro.
Subhanallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep him steadfast.
Allahumma
And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring more people to the truth of Islam, even if it's in that manner, bring them. Bismillah. Jazakallah khair for sharing that. Abduraheem, you went through 3 months of recovering in the hospital. When you came out of hospital, what was life like for you, kind of learning how to be you again?
Yeah, so I stayed 3 months in Galway Hospital, and then when I came out, you were here at the time. We
Yeah.
had to go to Navan. I had to go to a place where I can, because I was on a wheelchair, that I can move around and have my own room downstairs. So the best place was at the time was in Navan, and subhanallah, I had the metal cage on my left leg, so it kind of delayed me to get my prosthetic and kind of start walking. So I had another 3 months that I had to wait for this cage to go off. So at the time, we were just recovering at home. Marwan was taban feeding me at the time. He's a very terrible cook, bro. Same food every day, mashed potatoes and chicken.
I'm not the best, really.
Like, alhamdulillah, it was good.
Food.
The family,
His hospital food is better than my food.
alhamdulillah, the family came over, and my sister and the kids were here, my mom, my dad. So it was good, recovery mode, I recovered a bit, and then I went to Dunleary Hospital. That's where I got my prosthetic leg, and I started. And subhanallah, yeah, I had to learn how to walk again and to be independent and to kind of do everything on my own again, because I had someone caring for me, And subhanallah, I had to do that twice, Alhamdulillah, I remember the doctor came to me and he's like, listen, you'll never walk again. You'll be using the wheelchair. And at the time I was like, alhamdulillah, whatever is written is written. But when I was recovering, I had this hunger, bro. I was like, nah, it's not the end. I can push myself. I can do more. And alhamdulillah, I stayed another 4 months in the Dunleary Hospital. I'll stay there for the weekdays, and then the weekend go home and stay with the family. And alhamdulillah, I met a lot of people on the journey, and subhanallah, that it teaches you a lot of things. Number one, obviously family, but it teaches you who your real friends are,
Who has real, genuine interest and care.
Now.
Yeah.
Also the Muslim, sometimes I get people visit me, I don't even know them, bro. But they know my dad. And back in the days, they'll say, oh, your dad helped us in something. So now, subhanallah, come at the deen of the dan, so you dir khair comes back to you.
What goes around comes around, man.
Nah.
It's life.
Alhamdulillah, bro. It was a long journey, but we're here now, alhamdulillah.
I remember times when he was in the hospital and times when we were at home recovering. A lot of the brothers, including the Tala lads, the Tala lads pulled up at that time. Bro, they were showing love, they were showing care. They drive all the way to Galway for 2.5 hours, drive back. A lot of the brothers here from Dublin, especially the Libyan community as well, they'd find every chance to be like, lads, this weekend we're going. Shout out to Muhammad Smew. That was someone that was always pulling up, bro. Always showing love, always showing care. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve him, bless him, and protect him from any harm that comes his way. But he was someone that definitely, I remember, showed me a lot of love. But the Tala boys, I remember them, bro. The Tala boys, even when I had to come to Dublin, they were, look, if you need anything, we're here, we're this, we're that. And they weren't just talking the talk, they're actually walking the walk. Because there's a lot of people that talk the talk, bro. A lot of people, I'm here for you. Shoot me a text when you can. I'll, you know what I mean? I'll send you this, that. But really and truly, the brothers that feel for you, that don't want to leave the company that they're in and feel upset when they have to go home, that's when you know it's real love, bro. And I remember there were brothers that would come and spend the entire day with us. Shout out to a lot of them. I don't want to call out names. I called out Muhammad Shmoof for a reason, but he was very dear to me personally because he showed me a lot of personal, like, I'm here, what's up, I'm here. I didn't have my older brother in the country, so I felt like he played his role, really.
Give a shout out to all the Amus, you know, in Eid.
Yeah.
I'm Abdulhadi, barakallahu fi.
Wow,
SubhanAllah, came all
I
the way
love
to
him.
Galway,
Love
took
that
me
guy.
in, put me in the Santa Fe on his own, bro. And drove, because Eid, the Salah is early, so, and we drove, all came, took me to Clonsky, done Eid, seen everyone. It was nice to get out of the hostel for a bit and see everyone, and yeah, SubhanAllah. And then, and the night time, then took me all the way back to Galway. So that whole day, شوف انت قديش مرة فهمت
May Allah
سبحان
subhanahu
الله
wa ta'ala
بارك
bless
الله
him,
فيه may Allah
Abdulhadi.
reward
He was a
him.
beast, bro. He really had our backs. But like Abduraheem said, when you see that kind of love, bro, and it's from people that you don't even like, you don't even know properly, you don't chill with them, but you know they're close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do you get me? So they're not coming to, hey, let me give you a favor so you can give me a favor one day. No, I'm coming because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a reward for me doing this. And it might be multiplied by whatever he sees fit. It might be multiplied by 1,000 if my intention is that pure. So every time that they would come, I'd say to Abduraheem at night, I'd be like, bro, these brothers, like, we're not even that close to. The brothers that we're close to are not even coming. They're not even showing their
It's
faces.
Islam, bro.
And that's the beauty of Islam. Sadaqt. That's the beauty of Islam. Those who are closest to Allah will do things for Allah.
sake of Allah.
You know, for the sake of Allah.
That's exactly it, man. It's beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
I kind of seen that firsthand. Obviously, the viewers are thinking, okay, where's this story going, guys? We're gonna have a part 2 because these two brothers have went through a lot the last decade or so, and there's a lot of lessons there. So I want you guys to hear firstly their calamity, their test, how it started, how it was going in the beginning. And being the land part 2, you guys will be able to hear a lot more inspiration of what they did with their lives and so on and so forth. But with that being said, let's kind of go to a moment, Ibrahim, where you can look into the camera and kind of help people that are watching this connect to facing adversity in a sense of, you know, a positive attitude, seeking hope when they're going through an obstacle in life, and what steps they can take to obviously come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these phases.
Well, Bismillah. I think one of the quotes I've read, and I always go by it. It says that don't build your home on other people, because if they walk away with your home. But my lesson that I learned in prison, and when I was depressed, when I couldn't get up to pray, when I couldn't read Quran, when I just didn't want to listen to anyone, I didn't want to speak to anyone, I just wanted to live the day as it is, my existence, I remembered that quote, and I remembered that I need to start building my home with Allah. And that's where you start your journey to understand your heart and your mind. Live with the Quran, and you will hear what Allah is trying to tell you. And I said this, I think, when Akhi Ayman's retreat. I said one of the great Imams said that if you would like to speak to Allah, then pray. If you would like Allah to speak to you, then read the Quran. Live with the Quran, understand the Quran, and you will understand your purpose in this life, and it will answer all your questions, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
That's powerful, Akhi. You reminded me of a moment that I had in that retreat when you said the exact words you just mentioned. Barakallahu feek. I think it's very powerful, and I think if you haven't heard that, you know, rewind a little bit and hear that again. If you have to write it down, write it down. It's very important that you implement that into your lives. Jazakallah khair, Ibrahim. Abduraheem, again, you dealt with your own trials and tribulations, very different than Ibrahim, but at the same time very similar. What is a message that you would give to the viewers that could help them through, maybe not the same obstacle you face, but the same mental challenges that you have to face, for example? What are some things that you would give people to work on themselves?
Bismillah. It's always have a good relationship with Allah. Like, you know, I think everyone has a past. I had the past. And my past was, you know, I was going off track, and I wasn't really close with my parents growing up, you know, as a teenager. Yeah. So my one was get close to Allah, and your parents should be your best friends. Like your dad should be your best friend. Adi, you know. And have hope, you know. Dima tawakkal ala Allah. You know, everyone has their own calamity, everyone has their own test. And just, I think have that relationship with Allah. that will keep you going, you know? That you know you're only here. This is dunya is nothing, bro. We're only here for a short time, not a long time. Think of what's after, you know? So that's my message to everyone, inshallah.
Have a positive mindset. That's great. Before we let you guys go, we did mention that they crossed paths, so we're going to cover that real quick before we let you guys go. You guys actually touched base during each other's calamities. Like, you were in prison and you were recovering from hospital, and you guys haven't spoke for how long?
Since we left Libya.
A decade or so. Probably a decade or so.
It was a good few years.
So you guys haven't touched base in about a decade or so, and you guys connect during this, you know, obstacle. How was that? What happened?
Do you want to go first?
Nah, I'll let you first, bro.
I want to hear from both of you, by the way. I want to hear from your side how it happened, and from your side as well.
How
inshallah.
did you hear about it when you were...
So, subhanAllah, when I was in prison, getting letters was impossible. We had to smuggle it. And
Smugglers, eh?
yeah, we had to smuggle letters, man. And subhanAllah, we used to like fold it up, and I said this before, we used to fold it up and like put, like the writing had to be so tiny, and they would put into the packet of crisps, and the packet of crisps would be sealed. And I got a letter that way, I swear. And I got a letter that way. And it was the moment, because I think it happened 2017, you were saying? Yeah. So it's exactly that time. I remember the place I was at as well, the cell. And my mom was going through the cancer stage. And this is, subhanAllah, a message as well. That when you're going through a hardship, and you think you've had it the most like I've had, Allah will send you a message to either give you a little break, or to give you more power to continue going on this hardship.
Subhanallah.
And at that time, I told you, my mom had, you know, she was diagnosed with cancer, and I was fed up and I wanted to go home. There's nothing left for me in prison. I was on a hunger strike. I was on a wheelchair because I couldn't walk. I lost no food. I was about 60 kilos or a bit more. And I was giving up. Like, Allah, just listen to me. I needed the hope. I just needed anything to attach on. And I got that letter, and it was my sister telling me, Ibrahim, in very small little letters, Ibrahim, Abduraheem had his leg amputated, and he's currently in hospital. And of course, she has to also fill in the news of the family and stuff like that. So it was like a 1.5 line. And of course, as prisoner, I still have to send her back. And then by the time she sends me back, I don't know what's going on. So I was like, I don't know what's going on, but let me write Abduraheem a letter. At the time, I had received after by a while what had happened. So I wrote Abduraheem a letter. And subhanAllah, I was thinking, if I'm going through a hardship, and I think, okay, my freedom is taken away from me, or my privacy is taken away from me, or I can't see the moon without bars anymore, Abduraheem won't be able to walk. Like, alhamdulillah, I'm still intact. And that's where that message gave me patience and sabr.
Subhanallah.
It had to be smuggled. I had to receive that news. It was meant to be, for me to be able to continue my journey and have patience until I was released.
Subhanallah.
And I heard, and inshallah we'll leave that for part 2, but I heard Abduraheem, I wrote him a letter, and that's how we connected again.
Wow.
Barakallahu feek.
I love that side of the story. How about you, bro? When you received that letter, I remember kind of the emotion that you went through, but share with the viewers kind of what happened there.
I think we were in Navan at the time.
Yeah.
I was recovering, and your sister and her husband, they came to visit us. Barakallahu fihim. And when she was going, she's like, I have a letter from Ibrahim. And I know in the time, like you're in prison, I was saying, so فرحت, and subhanAllah, got the letter, went and read it. And Allah, it touched my heart, bro. Because you were talking about like our childhood, you know, Dima anta kunt, you're close to your dad, and you're always, you know. So subhanAllah, it really cheered me up. And also, like, alhamdulillah, to hear from you, you know, to know that you're doing good. And yeah, subhanAllah, man, it was really... Barakallahu feek, bro. Allah bless you, man.
Barakallahu feekum. Guys, the reason I wanted to share that conclusion to today's episode is, look, everyone goes through a calamity. All of us are going through something, man. Sometimes, wallahi, by just communicating, they gave each other hope. They gave each other patience. They showed each other some love in ways where, like, one guy is going through extreme recovery, one guy is behind bars. And they gave each other things that maybe you and I don't give each other on a daily basis. So look, this is an inspiration to you. Reach out more to people around you. Build connections. Ask if your people need help. Ask them if they're good. Ask them, catch up with them. And if somebody is going through a calamity, be there for them. Not for their sake, but for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He will allow them to feel the sweetness of sabr and patience. Bi-idhnillah. Jazakallah khair, guys. Part 2 will be coming out, and I'm telling you, if you think this one was good, watch out for part 2. Barakallahu feekum, guys. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast, and we'll see you guys at the next episode, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.